Good morning, everyone. Very pleased to have you all. And it's for me a privilege to be with you, particularly here in Narva, where I would like really to extend to you a warm welcome, despite the cold weather. We gather again in Narva for the third time at the invitation of the SSCW, the Silame Child Welfare Organization. And I would like to start with a very, very warm word of appreciation to Mrs. Irina Kolikov, President of the SSCW organization, and Vasily Kolikov, who is behind the organization of this gathering. And I would like to thank them on behalf of all of you for the relentless efforts they are continuously deploying to serve the principles and values of peace, mutual understanding, and civil commitment. But I would like also to recognize their team behind them, who works also relentlessly and accomplishing great performances with a very keen sense of responsibility and volunteerism that I have always, in the last 10 years of my association with them, I have always seen in each and every one of them. In previous conferences, we have addressed several issues, from security to technology to climate change and international cooperation, in an attempt to draw a vision for a future development that the next generation can build on. This time, we bring together officials and experts to present and discuss several aspects of the security issues linked to the war in the Ukraine and its repercussions on peace, stability, energy and food security, the environment in Europe, the Mediterranean, and the North African region. We will try to understand the parameters of the new international order and how it will impact us. The war in the Ukraine has erupted at a moment the world is still struggling with the severe economic and social impact of the coronavirus pandemic, with many countries still at that point in the eye of the health cyclone. Other countries, particularly in Africa, were slowly reconnecting their economic situation with the dynamics of production and in the process of mending the severe strains affecting their economic and social balances. All over the world, the international scene is reorganizing. The Western Alliance, particularly the NATO structure, is expanding, and the Eastern Bloc is forming a new alliance between China, Russia, and the rest of the BRICS. The energy sector is also going through major difficulties with, on the one hand, the shrinking market due to the Western sanctions on Russia, and on the other hand, skyrocketing prices many developing countries cannot afford. The return to coal as a source of energy to replace oil and gas from Russia is impacting directly and unfortunately for the duration the climate crisis and worsening the repercussions on several regions, particularly the Mediterranean region, as we have witnessed recently. Food security, both in terms of availability and cost, represent another major concern for developing countries, particularly for wheat-consuming countries, such as those of North Africa, who depend on grain imports from Russia and the Ukraine. What type of balance of power will emerge from the conflict in the Ukraine? What would be the new geopolitical structure or organization of Europe after this conflict? And how this will have as an impact both directly and indirectly on other areas of tension, unfortunately also in Europe with Moldova and the vicinity, but further east, Taiwan, in the Middle East with the Palestinian issue still on, North Africa and the Sahel countries. What possible solutions do we have or can envisage? Can renewable energies solve the energy problem? Or do we need to control and obviously reduce demand on energy and therefore impacting our development process? Is technology the answer to the questions? What kind of new international order we are about to usher in? These and many more issues will be presented and discussed in the various segments of our conference, and we hope that recommendations and proposals will emerge which can help us better understand and prepare ourselves and our regions for the new international order to come. Without further delay, I would like to call on Gert Antsu, Director of Ukraine, Moldova, and South Caucasus Division at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Estonia, to give his welcoming or opening remarks.
Please. Morning. Good morning. Shukran. Very good morning to everyone. Ahlan wa sahlan. Дуже радий вітати усіх учасників з України. Welcome to the conference and welcome to Narva. I'm bringing you greetings from Urmas Reinsalu, the Estonian Minister of Foreign Affairs. It's, always life is busy for any Minister of Foreign Affairs, but with the things happening today in the world, it's even busier. And the upcoming Estonian parliamentary elections in a few weeks are not making the things easier for the schedule, of course. We are here today in Narva on the eastern border of Estonia, and I don't like the question too much, but I think, the elephant in the room, one should still mention it. I mean, at some point it was popular in the Western media to ask, is Narva next? People have looked on the map. It's a short name. They managed to read the name of the city and made some conclusions. I'm sure the people in Narva are sick and tired of that talk, but you will certainly have time to look around in Narva during the conference or in the evening hours, and I'm sure you will see a vibrant, developing city firmly anchored in Europe, in the European Union, and in a NATO country. So the only sense in which Narva might be next is as a next excellent venue for international conferences. And I'm sure you will come to appreciate that. I would like to thank the organizers for putting together a diverse and interesting program, and obviously discussions on international politics. They are more real and relevant today than ever before. So I'm sure it will be interesting, useful, and it will contribute to many exciting ideas, new contacts made, and new friends made as well. In Estonia, we celebrated the 103rd anniversary of the Tartu Peace Treaty yesterday. That was the treaty marking the end of our independence war against Soviet Russia. So the peace treaty was concluded in 1920. And actually, it was in Narva that the war started on the 28th of November 1918. On the way here from Narva, this morning we discussed that, well, as the big war, the Russian aggression against Ukraine, it started on the 24th of February, which is the Estonian National Day, and that will it forever kind of negatively taint our national day. But I'm sure when it all will be over, we will mark the victory day of Ukraine and will celebrate and remember that date more than the 24th of February. When the war started, the Russians, the Soviets, they created a Estonian workers' commune in Narva, which was a sort of precursor of today's so-called Donetsk People's Republic or Luhansk People's Republic. And it was as fake, created by the outsiders, and luckily even much more short-lived than those people's republics. But well, it used to be ancient history. Well, something you teach school children, something that happened 100 years ago. But with the war in Ukraine, well, it becomes obviously more relevant, more emotional. And again, on the way from Narva, so you look at the neighboring country across the river with a bit different eyes than earlier. But well, the war 103 years ago, it ended with Estonia liberating all its territory and becoming a truly independent country. Well, this is the only way the war can end for Ukraine as well, liberating the territories, restoring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine, because if not, well, then we would send a signal that crime pays. You know, you can attack your neighbor, take some of its territories and become bigger, and, you know, it's fine. Well, obviously, such an outcome, such a world, we would not like to see emerging, and such a world we cannot accept. But before that will happen, before the end, presumably victorious end to the war will come, obviously we have to do everything that we can to support Ukraine and in order to bring about the victory. And Estonia, 100 years ago, we won the war because of the bravery of our students, school children, and others who joined in to defend their country. But it was not only us. It was also the Finnish volunteers. It was the British Navy. And together with the help of others, we managed to beat a so much bigger neighbor than, well, surprisingly for many, because, well, Estonia obviously being a much smaller country. So likewise, the world needs to stand by Ukraine and intensify the weapons shipment, but also humanitarian assistance, everything from blankets to generators, in order to help the Ukrainian people survive the winter, but in the end to win the war. And at the same time, we should make life as difficult as possible for the Russian Federation. On the side of the European Union, we are already working on the 10th package of sanctions. Many countries have joined the oil price cap, which is reducing the revenues of Russia from oil exports. And we have to periodically review the cap in order to make sure that it really works. And eventually we have to bring some sort of justice to it and bring the war criminals in Russia to justice. And there should be an international tribunal established, but, well, that's for the future. I know there are many topics at this conference, but still, currently in the world and for the Estonian foreign policy, Ukraine obviously remains by far the most important topic, hence also I was concentrating on that. But I wish you fruitful discussions at the conference on the topic of the current war and on the multiple other topics. I'm sure you will enjoy that and have a